is good.
Excellent.
All right.
Thank you, Selena. Hi, everyone. Welcome to SCIP. This is one of my favorite meetings of the month. So I'm really happy to see you all. I want to just go over the agenda. For those of you who do not know me, I'm Kathleen Carruthers. I am the Senior Director of Equality and PI at Stanford Valley Care. And so we're going to go through the agenda real quick and welcome and review some of the feedback. Thank you for those who submitted. And then head to tool time, where we have Hurley Smith doing a live blog demonstration. We'll jump into our lean coffee, followed by the debrief. And then we'll close out with the what I like, what I wish, what I wonder. So without further ado, we'll review the feedback. We heard you. So the big take-home messages from the last meeting were we like the focus on one topic and to really dive deep on that. So we are again going to have one topic in this session. So that what I wish is more time for said topic. And so what Ryan has done as part of the SCIP community, we sent out the polling for topics and preferences mid-month. A couple of weeks ago, you should have received a survey to provide feedback on what topics we've already listed, as well as feedback on additional topics we could add to the future polls. Want to pause here for some thoughts on that, either thumbs up or in the chat. Let us know how you liked that mid-month polling process.
While you're doing that, I'd just like to say that we got 25 responses. If we consider that our highest month of SCIP in terms of attendees was 50, I know we sent it out to more than 50, but that's equivalent almost of a 50% return rate, which is pretty good in the world of surveys. So I feel like we got a good response rate from everybody and pretty good feedback. So I'm curious how everyone felt it went. Okay, we can move on. That was good. Thanks, Dawn. All right.
All right. And then the last, so yes, and wanted to more broadly get the information out. So we did send the topic in advance, and also we asked participants to share the invite more broadly and try to get more input, but also more participants here because we really want to grow this community. And then if you haven't seen it yet, check out the article in the SMCI newsletter.
It'll be in December's. Yes, December's. So it's not in there yet. So if you've seen it, you're probably on the team who's developing it. So not quite yet.
All right. Thanks,
all right,
Ryan, for the clarification.
Yeah, no problem. All right.
So now we're moving to tool time with Hurley.
Cool. Do you mind terminating? Yeah, perfect. So I only have 5 minutes, but I want to start with a story that I think all of us on this call can relate to in some form or another. When COVID happened, and it blew up the world for all of us, right? Particularly though, I think for improvement professionals, up until that point, our trade has been done in person. We go to the Gembo, where the work is, where the people are. We use sticky notes and we put them on walls. We're a very tactile group of people. COVID happens, we're staying at home, we're virtual, we're on Zoom. We had to learn so much in such a short amount of time. And I think that the majority of you would agree that COVID has done great things for our trade, for what we do. We've become more productive with the tools made available to us. We've learned how to use them in innovative ways. We've changed the way we practice because of COVID. And so I was thinking one day, we've learned a lot, and just like always, we suck at sharing learning. So I'm going to try to share this, right? So I went to the traditional means of sharing knowledge, which is our academic publications. I picked out 2 or 3 target journals that tend to publish QI work. And I wrote a perspective piece, right? Not a lot, maybe a couple thousand words on COVID, its impact, the tools that we had to learn how to use, how we got the most out of them. And I submitted this perspective piece to these 3 publications, and all 3 of them summarily told me no, not interested. And the feedback that I got, which was super helpful, was just that it wasn't novel enough, right? They even complimented the writing. They said, look, it's really well written. It's just not novel enough to go in our journal. And once I got over the pain of rejection, I started thinking about this objectively, right? And objectively, I knew they were wrong about it not being interesting, novel, whatever. And the reason I knew they were wrong is because I had 3 or 4 people a month asking me to get on a Zoom with them to show them how to use these tools that we've had to learn how to use in short order because of COVID. So this is creating some cognitive dissonance for me here, guys, right? I've got something interesting. I've got ideas worth sharing, and the academic publications are saying that's not interesting enough. And that's when I realized I got the wrong audience. The people who want to know the knowledge that I have to share are not necessarily the same people that are subscribing to these academic publications. Now, I'm not casting aspersions. There is a place for academic publication, but what if there's a place for a different kind of knowledge sharing? There must be a place, right? Everyday improvers are frontline nurses and physical therapists. You can't expect these people to burst down the barriers that are the pillars of academic publication. We need another place. Problem is, we don't have another place, and we continue to suck at information sharing. So how could we do this? The idea was, what if we created something like a blog, right? Something like a blog where the barrier to publishing this kind of knowledge, to sharing this kind of knowledge, wasn't as high, where it was easy to get stuff submitted. Now, I'm going to show you the prototype that we have, and you're like, wow, that looked like a kindergartner did that for their project. Yeah, I don't know how to do web design. It is what it is, right? But we'll make it pretty if this concept works. But right now, what I'm asking, or what I'm bringing to this group, is a soft launch, right? This is a blog that lives on the SMCI website because I wanted it to be enterprise agnostic, whether you're adult, children's, whatever. By the way, I'm Hurley. I'm on the improvement team on the adult side. I don't think I said that at first. Yeah, so I'm an improvement consultant just like all y'all. So we wanted to create this platform just to see if we can create some pull. I know you guys have information, knowledge, ideas worth sharing. So this is what it is, right? We put up some basic parameters here, right? We want to keep it short and sweet, right? 1,000 words or less. That's a 5-minute read. That's probably going to take you 30 minutes to write, an hour if you really put, a lot of thought and effort into making it look and feel good. We want it to be a place where we have pictures, right? We want you to send pictures with your submission to give like some visual appeal to the story that you're kind of trying to tell. But really the goal is ultimately to have this place where you can come and search. By the way, this search bar, it's aesthetic only. It doesn't even work yet. I haven't learned how to do that, but I'll figure this out, right? What if you could just search discharges by noon, and everybody who's ever done a project or had an opinion about discharges by noon or a reflection or whatever had posted it on this blog, and you could pull it up and read about it, right? Now, of course, disclaimer, we've got to stay out of trouble, right? We've talked to general counsel. There's certain things that you just can't say about Stanford or about our patients. We've articulated the rules here. I won't go into them, but we'll worry about keeping everything PC from an enterprise perspective. But imagine just scrolling down the front page and seeing stuff that we don't normally share, right? I wrote this one just as an example. I supported a discharges by noon project that failed epically. It was unsuccessful in every way that a project can be unsuccessful, but nobody's going to talk about it. It's not going to get any rewards. All that learning was lost. What if you could click here to learn about my failures before you do a discharges by noon project, right? This is an article from Jake about how to present improvement work effectively. And this was that original publication that all the academic institutions said no to, right? Did COVID kill the Kaizen, right? There's an audience for that. So anyway, I guess I leave you with, if you have an idea worth sharing, if you've got 1,000 words that you think other improvers would benefit from, send it to smci@stanfordhealthcare.org, and let's get this thing going. Like, let's get a place where we can all share information. This is a soft launch, like I said. It is on the internet, but you're not going to find a link to it anywhere because I don't really want this to be super public just now. I want to see where this goes. So if you've got 1,000 words, send it to us, right? Let's create a platform where we can share information without having to go through the rigor of academic publication. Again, I'm not trash talking academic publication. It's important, we should do it, but I think that we need to be considering more than just that as a venue for information sharing. That's it. I hope that was 5 minutes. Thank you, everybody.
Great timing, Hurley. Thank you. Really great information.
Hey, Hurley, I have a question. So as we're thinking about what to write about or what not to write about, how do we make sure that people feel safe in writing things? Like you had here's what didn't work. How do we, like, especially if we aren't, like, if we're consultants or we're partners or like, we're not necessarily like the decision makers, then how do we tell the story without making it feel like we're pointing fingers and saying, you did it wrong, haha?
Yeah, I think if you follow the same rules of the road that we do in our improvement projects, right? If you are going to present a scenario that's specific enough that somebody could potentially feel outed or that it's very clear they're talking about them, we would never do something like that without their consent, right? Without talking about it with them, running it by them. Hey, here's how I'm thinking of framing this. Without consent, we've got to leave stuff super general, right? And in certain situations, keeping it general is enough to make your point. But if in order to make your point, you've got to get specific, we've got to have consent of the people that we're talking about. And it's a really good point you bring, Joy. We want to information share. We want to embrace failure. We want to embrace the things that don't go the way we want them to. But we also have to acknowledge and respect that's still not our culture. We're still a winner's culture, right? Like nobody, as much as we say we embrace failure, we don't like to feel exposed for having any kind of shortcoming. So great point.
Any other questions?
Can I just ask who on here has actually submitted or written a blog or done anything like that before? Anyone other than Hurley? Okay, so this is exciting because this is a stretch moment, right? Our jobs are always to stretch people to do things they haven't done, uncharted territory, blah, blah, blah. So Ryan, we got to figure out a way how to turn this group into like blogger bonanzas. Like we're going to figure out, Hurley, we're going to need your help, but
half an hour sounds kind of scary. It doesn't sound, that sounded very optimistic.
Well, call it 15 minutes, 30 minutes. Yeah, let's just change it. Hurley said half hour, but that's Hurley. He spends a little more time on his wording.
I know. I was going to say the other way around. For me to write a thousand words.
It's a max of 1,000. A max of 1,000 words, right? That means if you can get your point across in 500, that's gold. So yeah, that's like at the most. Any more than 1,000, we might be sending it back saying, "Oh, this is too long of a read," right?
There's some cool stuff in the there's some cool stuff in the chat as well. Michelle had an idea and then Don had a question. I don't know, Hurley, if you see the question, we could talk about Michelle's idea.
I don't know what the definition of blog was. Maybe brief log. I don't know. What was it? Anyone?
Originally, it was web log back when it all began, but now it's just shortened to blog.
So they dropped the WE off then, huh? Okay. All right.
We can call it a Thanksgiving turkey. If it's an online venue that people can put their stories on, I'm game for whatever we call it.
And Mohammed said, what about a vlog? So just a little bit of transparency. Ryan and I tried to do that for you all. And it ended up being just an audio file that was shared because it's complicated. But we're open. I think we all should be open to trying new things and sharing it with this community first. If we're not ready to launch it out to the world, bring it here. This is what we're here for. So, and Michelle, we'll look at that idea. We'll look at that idea. Absolutely.
Trying to have it as a safe space where we can share and do crazy stuff. So, yeah, we called it a podcast. wasn't so much. I don't know. I'm still going with that because my brother has like 3 podcasts, and now I can tell him I at least did one, or I have one, or we have one, but it's not really. But don't tell anybody. Let's pretend it really is. All right, so let's go. Let's jump into I want to give a brief overview of the Lean Style Coffee event that we've got, and then we're going to jump right in, okay? So, in the past, when we've done this, we went through the whole process of selecting an item, everyone shared, and then we scrambled, voted, and then picked 2 to 3. Now we did that all offline, and we're presenting it here. You all picked one, or all those that voted picked one, and we shared that beforehand. We also shared some additional information, content, and our podcast. And so now that we have all that, we did all that up front. Now we can jump right in. We've only got one topic that we're going to discuss. We're still going to break everybody out to probably more like 5 and 6 people versus 10 people, which we had before. We've got a smaller group, so that should work out fine for us. So we're going to, I know it says 10 here, but or 10 or less, we felt like around 5 or 6 would be good for now. We're going to see how it goes. Maybe if it's too small, we'll bump it up a little bit more, but we're constantly trying to tweak this. So after that, remember that someone in your group, we want someone to keep track of time, someone to take the notes, and someone to be kind of the moderator to keep the conversation going, make sure that everyone's participating. You're all improvement professionals, so this should be second nature to you, because this is what we do, right? Or you've at least seen it done a bunch, so you know what it looks like. So let's pick those first thing in, but actually first thing in, we want you to have an icebreaker. We really want to be able to talk about what your favorite side dish at Thanksgiving or over the holidays. It doesn't have to be Thanksgiving, but what's your favorite side dish? We want you to introduce yourself, your organization, because part of this is getting to know each other. I know that last time we kind of some of our groups skipped through that. We really don't want you to. We want you to spend some time on this to really get to know each other, because we're building community here, as well as collaborating on really neat topics. So like I said, we've got a facilitator who's going to report out, and timekeeper. I'm going to share in the chat the mural post, or the mural page right now. And so what I would like, we're going to return to the room 2:45. So that gives us 25 minutes. And I want to give everyone a picture of what the topic is. We're going to talk about how to hand off improvement work back to operations. And we sent you some videos. There's also a video that our very own Joey Gore was the star of, that we're going to be sending out after this as a follow-up. For anyone who wants more information on how to sustain work. But I do want to also share with you the results. This was also sent out to you, but I think it's worth sharing. How to hand off improvement work back to operations was number 1, followed by how do you successfully scale an effort or improvement. So we'll send these out again, in addition to whatever additional ones we got last survey or today during our what I want, wish, and wonder. Someone's moving that around. But what we'll do is we'll go ahead and add to that. We'll send it out again and see what comes up next time. And then we also see the items we already discussed here. Okay. So, and then if I go down to the group notes, each of the groups has their own section, and in each section I've posted the instructions. So name, organization, what's your favorite side dish, and that information there. But what I did not do yet, and I'll do this while Selena is sending us into groups, I'm going to move also our post-it, or copy it. Oops, copy it, and then we'll send it. So any questions about the process? Anybody? Okay. All right. So, and Selena, you want to bounce us into different groups?
Ryan, you're on mute.
How come I'm on mute? I was just talking. All right. I was saying how nice that was that that I returned, and Selena's wishing everyone happy Thanksgiving. That was nice. It was good. All right, so I had to say it twice. That's okay. It's still good. All right, well, I hope everyone enjoyed that. That was our first attempt at doing one topic, and at least for our group, I feel like we could have kept going. So I'm curious to see how everyone does. So this is our quick fire feedback overview. So I'm going to exit this screen. I'm going to share my screen and allow team one to start. So let's pass it to team one. I will get the share screen up here. And team one, who is team one? Who wants to report out? And maybe introduce who was part of your group, so we get to know you.
Hey guys, was it Nassim? Nassim, were you reporting out? I forgot.
I don't remember. Sorry. If it is me, I'm happy to report out. We had Jakaria, Jesse, Michelle, Kathleen, and Joyce on our team. And I think some of the same points that are here, but really we talked about the baby analogy and handing off the baby, but talked really about the importance of setting those expectations up front of the role of everyone on the team, the role of the improvement professional, and the role of the operational owners. And basically agreed that, if you are able to set the expectation up front, it makes it really easier to give the baby back. It's a little bit harder if you take the baby and those expectations aren't set.
So it looks like Jakaria couldn't resist talking about kidnapping the baby, right?
I couldn't let it go. Kidnapping and CPS, we got it all in.
It is not appropriate to kidnap the baby. Do not do it. Good. Awesome. Fun.
Hey Ryan,
Okay.
the other thing, can you go back for a second? The other thing,
Sure.
because Jesse brought up a really good point, which is that when you're communicating with them, you almost want to portray that you're the babysitter. Sorry, it was just another analogy. I liked it. So kidnapping, CPS, and be the babysitter, not the parent.
Or in my world, you foster parent of sorts, yeah, yeah, for sure. Babysitter works. That's good. You do not own the baby. It is not yours to own or to take. Yeah, good. All right, team two.
Hi everybody, I guess I will report out. So we talked about, as Nassim was saying, setting the expectation at the beginning of the project and defining the roles and responsibilities of an improvement consultant and a project leader. We also talked about setting alignment between the leaders, because sometimes the operation doesn't want to take, I guess the analogy, the baby anymore, because there's no alignment in terms of how important this work in terms of to the operations. So we talked about having the alignment between leadership's sponsor and the team and the operation, involving the operation with the work. And if they're not super involved in the work that happened, then maybe kind of build a timeline when we hand off the work, kind of to help them out with the sustain phase until they get a hold of the entire improvement project, and then hand it off completely. And in our team, there was Arlene, Natalie, Lisa, Ame, and me, and a Rose. And team, please chime in if I missed anything.
I think we just also, great job, Mohammed, thank you. We also just discussed partnership, collaboration between like consulting or the improvement team and then operations is often like we get a lot of tools, right? We're always shown tools and improvement practices, but unless we're really shown how this benefits us and building in the teaching time, so whether it's a weekly cadence check-in, just to help with that handoff, because sometimes we just drop off the baby and expect the baby to be cared for, whereas there should be a transition to to the project. So there is the full support and not just kind of another improvement project. And also from operations, ensuring that the correct person is leading the project, because often, right, from a practice management standpoint, it's the directors, it's the managers, but that may not always be the appropriate person or the subject matter expert. And we need to be humble enough to be able to delegate and find champions who can lead those projects, especially when, one, we may not be the correct person, or two, we may be overwhelmed with other things going on.
Great points. I love what you had to say about sometimes we just drop it, and that certainly isn't appropriate, but it's very common. And then it gives the improvement work a bad name, a bit like, okay, what just happened, So there does need to be that transition. Excellent. Any other thoughts about that? That's good. Okay. All right. Well, I will, unless someone else wants to take group 3, I'll take group 3. Anyone? Joy, Sherry, you dying to say it? Oh, okay, I'll do it. So group 3, we had Sherry, Joy, Dawn. We had Sean. I think that might have been it. I think that was it. And we had a great discussion, primarily to start with, about stuffing and the different types of stuffing there were. I'm just so amazed. I got to try them all. There's a sticky rice stuffing. I had no idea. Really, really sounds delicious. So, but that's not about this topic, so I'm not going to go that deep into it. If you want to talk about that, we can set up another skip for tomorrow and talk about just stuffing, if you'd like. But what we talked about is Dawn shared that it begins at contracting in the beginning. So right before we do anything else, we really need to focus and set the ground rules or set the guidelines right up front and help them to understand that this is a temporary endeavor and that we're going to be handing this back at the end, and set that up from the beginning. We also talked about what it looks like, from Sean's perspective, to be the one that is on the receiving end of the projects. And a lot of the work he does, they're the ones doing it and the owner. So it is their family or their baby to own. So it was primarily a discussion about how to spread that work from one group to the rest of them, so everyone does the same thing. So that was an interesting dialogue. And then we also talked about the challenge it is of how much to get involved as the improvement professional, how much to jump in and do the work or get it done, and how much to just sit back and lead the work, because there is a balance. Doing too much of sitting back and leading the work, people think that you're not engaged, and then you go too much at getting the work done, then they're dependent on you and don't want you to ever leave. And then when you do pull out, it rips part of that sustainability away, so it's not as the project suffers. So how to balance that? So we talked a lot about that, and let's see what else. We talked about directive versus coaching approach. Depending on where they're at, there is a difference. And then start coaching early and often about what they're going to expect at the end. Oh yeah, and so Joy mentioned learn about both on the dance floor and the balcony. Yes, Val Olsted talks about that. It's the perspective. Yeah, she says to be in the work. So on the dance floor, you're experiencing it, you're seeing it, you're feeling it, and then sometimes you've got to actually detach yourself from that to go up on the balcony and watch and see from what we call a systems view, from more of probably a coaching view. So that's a good point, Joy. You want to share anything more about that? That's good.
Yeah, just as you were talking about like being in it and leading it, that all of a sudden I was like, oh, dancing on the dance floor and watching at the same time, where that was one of the points. How do you make sure you can't just do one? You have to do both together. Otherwise, It doesn't work.
Good. Okay, well, we've got to move on. We've only got 4 minutes left. And now we've got to jump to what I like, what I wish, what I wonder. I added some to begin with. Oh, someone already put one in. Good. So what I would like you to do is use that same link go in and add what you liked about today, what you wished could be different, and what you wonder that we might want to do in the future. You can also put in here topics that you would like to discuss. So what I wonder is if we talked about something else, stuffing again, you know, more on stuffing, something along those lines. So go ahead and enter those. We'll spend about 3 minutes on that, and then we'll have 1 minute to wrap up. Oh, and if you don't have access to Mural, or you don't have the link again, go ahead and just put it in the chat, and I'll monitor that and enter anyone who doesn't have that. This was a lot of fun. Someone is up top. Okay. So wherever you put your feedback, we will find it, whether it's at the bottom, whether it's at the top. The fun part about these collaborative tools. Okay, so we've got a couple minutes left. There's still movement, so I'm gonna keep it going. I'll just read out some of these because I do like some of the feedback. So like this icebreaker, smaller breakout group size. Yeah, I think that was probably a winner. Icebreaker, good. Organization and Mural, small groups, one topic, good, good. Okay, feedback of getting 2 topics instead of 1. Okay, that's a possibility. We certainly continue to evolve. Oh yeah, someone had the idea of speed dating once a quarter to get to know our peers. That would be kind of fun. Yeah. Okay. The class on writing publications. Yeah, we do that in our Lean Six Sigma class. We have a portion of it on that, but I think that's something we could certainly discuss amongst this group.
I think in SALT, isn't there one of the learning labs, the 7 a.m. learning labs? So there should be some videos.
There is. There is.
Recording.
Yeah, we could do that as well. There is, certainly we've got.
Or at the very least, share it. Share the existing one.
Yeah. I'm looking at, where's Ame? She was here. She's not here anymore. Okay, she probably has to leave early. We'll get that. Yeah, we could share that. We go through, as you know, we go through all these every time and provide feedback and then respond accordingly. So we'll go through each of these. Okay, well, we're at 2:59.
Yep.
Oh, Jakari, you wanna finish it? Final words? Jakari,
Oh,
she's been dying to say
he
stuff.
said it like I'm Jerry Springer. You guys remember that? Anyway, so we just want to thank you all for coming. We know that we typically meet on the 4th Tuesday, and we also understand it's the holiday season, so that's right around Christmas. We probably will not meet in December, but we're going to discuss that. But it doesn't matter when we meet. We're going to be excited to see you all again. So continue to give us feedback. Continue to look for information coming from us prior to our next meeting. And if nothing else, enjoy your holiday. We hope that you take at least 1, if not 2 days off, and you eat your favorite things and you exercise afterwards, because we are all about health and progression. So on behalf of the SCIP team, we want to thank everybody for joining. Happy Thanksgiving, or whatever you celebrate. Be careful, be safe, enjoy yourself, and we will see you next time. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.